Hey, it's Nevaeh. I'm here to speak of my thoughts on you girls. I came to make a video for other young women because I feel like young adulthood could be something that is difficult to navigate and something that might cause a lot of inner conflict. So I just came to give some words of wisdom so I could help somebody out, and hopefully this video is in service of you. So let me jump right in. To give some context, I am a teen mom. I'm no longer a teenager, but I had my daughter at 16. I kept going to high school even after having her. I finished on time. I finished at the top of my class. I ended up giving the speech of 2023, and then I went straight to college. I'm now a third year sociology major at my dream school, which is UCLA. But something that I noticed with a lot of young adults is I hear like some people say, I'm just living out my 20s. Like, I just want to live out my 20s. People always tell me to live out my 20s because I'm young. And then I hear other adults who are like, I'm just taking my 20s seriously. Like, I'm not going to have any fun because, I know that it's going to pay off in my 30s. I wanted to come and give my perspective because I feel like it could really help somebody. And I just wanted to tell you guys, there is a way to do both. I do think that I'm somebody who's more on the like, okay, I'm gonna take my 20s serious side, but I would also agree that I'm somebody who definitely believes in enjoying myself. I don't believe in being miserable throughout my entire 20s just to enjoy the rest of my life. Yes, I do think that there's gonna be times where it feels difficult in comparison to people who aren't living as intentionally, but I definitely think that there's supposed to be a balance, and it just takes being really intentional. And so rather than telling you to take your 20s super serious or make sure your 20s are super fun, I'm just going to tell you to live intentionally. Intention will get you a long way. When you think about it, a lot of people didn't just become successful out of nowhere, or didn't just become financially stable or financially literate out of nowhere. It literally took them to be intentional and thoughtful about where they were at their life and where they wanted to be, because you can't know where you're going until you know exactly where you are. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're intentional and you can tell yourself, okay, I'm right here. For example, for me, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm right here. I'm 20 years old. I know that I want to be a therapist. I know I want financial stability. I know I want to be a YouTuber. So let me be intentional with who I want to be in the future. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to make sure I'm posting YouTube videos every day. I'm going to make sure I'm taking school seriously. I'm going to my classes. I'm going to make sure, I'm taking my finances seriously. But I also want to be somebody who has fun. So let me make sure I schedule time for myself. Let me make sure I schedule time to hang out with my friends. Let me make sure I schedule time to go on dates with my partner. Let me make sure I schedule time to spend time with my daughter. Let me make sure I schedule time to make sure she's having fun. Life takes intention. Life takes a lot of intention. And intention doesn't always feel good whenever you don't feel like doing whatever it is that you need to get done. But intention is always worth it. It is always worth it to be intentional. And I'm not saying don't be spontaneous. There's perfect times to be spontaneous. But what I'm saying is majority of your life needs to be lived with intention. You need to think, is what I'm doing right now, is how I live today serving who I want to become? Am I going to get to where I want to be with the life that I'm living right now? That's something you really need to ask yourself. And if the answer is no, you need to think more about what you're doing right now and start, living for who you want to be in the future. While also, at the same time, making sure you're enjoying life. You don't want to be somebody who gets so caught up in being so serious that when you finally get to where you want to be, you can't even recognize that you made it because you're so caught on living a serious life. You know what I'm saying? You want to be somebody who is able to enjoy the little moments and have gratitude about the little things to make that intentional part of your life super enjoyable. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to have fun while being intentional. It's not impossible. And sometimes it takes a great deal of nuance, but you can do it. It's definitely something that can be done. And I just want to be your reminder and come here and speak to somebody who may need, some words of advice, and just tell you you are perfectly fine where you're at. Even if you happen to be not in your early 20s and you're a little bit older, you know what I'm saying? it's never too late to be intentional. But this video is mainly for young adults, and I would definitely urge you to live an intentional life, because when you do things that are good for you, you will never regret it. And it takes a lot of intention to do things that are good for you. And I'm working on some of those things myself, you know. Eating healthy, it takes intention, and that's my biggest battle, is eating healthy. But you know, working out takes intention. You know, checking up on the people that you love takes intention. Putting time into relationships that are serving you takes a great deal of intention. Schoolwork takes intention. To get up and go to your job takes intention. To be a great parent takes intention, you know. To try to make sure that your child doesn't have trauma, or, you know, isn't resentful of you, and making sure that you're serving your child takes a great deal of intention. So yeah, life takes intention. But if you schedule your life the right way, and you know, you start working on habit stacking and building better habits, it will all be worth it. So yeah, I hope that was in service of somebody. Holla at your girl. Be real or be real.